Yeah. So maybe for dinner. Hey. How about you? When are you going?
Yeah,
Well,
here.
Yeah, tomorrow.
You know.
I hope so too. Yeah, I was going to call her, but I thought she may be. But I'm sure she's doing, I don't think it's
Burning, something was burning.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they say that it's gallbladder. I don't think so because I had replacement weight and I still my stomach with certain food. I did. And it's warts because
She's alright.
when you see hot stuff, you get. And then you have to run to the bathroom all the time. It's tough.
She seems to be okay.
And I don't
She's
know
only
if
on
she has
Tylenol,
that. She has
so-
probably an allergy.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Can't cast it.
I just came from
Yeah. Keep it there for her too.
Are you okay?
Yeah. No, it gets like this. But you see, I'm flat now. You know? Maybe I check it
really crazy.
Yeah.
A woman was in a car.
You know,
and she
the-
saw
the-
across an intersection.
the smell of
For some
the
reason,
grease
she
and
was
stuff.
stuck in the middle of the intersection.
You know, a lot of
And Jay couldn't stop
I
in
love
time, so she
seafood and so forth.
the woman got out of the car. She
And this
was
is
fine.
the smell.
Jay
When I go
had
those
discernment.
because I have
It
to
wasn't
the
the
frontal gala and I have to
the
take the
airbag.
pains for them for the kids.
Oh.
I've actually been in an accident.
Hi, how are you?
So
Good to see you.
My daughter did the music. Oh yeah, I mean, Oh yeah, I guess they got over here. That's what happened. There we go. Oh, wait a little bit. So yeah, but it's been beautiful. The weather. Oh, I love it. Gosh, it's been gorgeous. Went over to Tampa. It's gorgeous. Yeah, I'm always, if you ever call me, I'm always in the car. I think most people who call me know this. I'm in the car. Or if you text me, you'll get I'm driving. Just call me. Yeah. There's like those custom messages. It's like a do not disturb. It'll come up. Not that anybody listens. They keep on texting. It's like the spam calls. I always answer with those custom, like, I'm on my way. I don't even think they get it. It's just so that I can just like hold on. Or sometimes I'll call in an hour. Yeah, I'll call in an hour. And they'll be like, what?
Grace is gonna grab. Pretty sweet. Oh, pretty sweet. She will be back. Oh,
I even brought a demo from when we do the wire thing. It's some different, I have the braided ear and then I have the stainless steel, but I didn't have the thing. I did it. I'm measuring tape to show. You see, we're going to do the pose. I read the instructions actually. Let's show what a theory is.
Because she's
This
gonna
is definitely going to be like, there's no question about it. I was like, you had it really too hard.
I couldn't do it. I need to get one of those cars and her. Whatever it is you you're into their
Braided. So depending, but it was the braided takes a very
But I
but also there's an easier way to do this.
Oh, you win. I did. But if I agreed,
I hate the wire you got to cut you. And then I have a cheat sheet. Even the ones that are already pre-made, you still give it to them, and they'll do it for you. Yeah, so that's my cheat sheet. You get it right, right? To wait a little bit. I was, the lady drinking coffee. I think like we need to have coffee. It was like an 11. No, that's our okay. So, and then I did the mistake of I had the live and it was the live, and I ended it, and then it doesn't let you.
hello, how are you?
No, so I have to redo a whole new live, send a whole email right now, like, hey, this is the
Yeah.
This is the new link. Because I know a lot of people yeah, we're gonna stream this one as well. I got you a nice HD video streaming. Yeah, I'm learning HD. Yeah, so that one's for streaming this way, right? And then this one is we use it for my demonstrations or this little PowerPoint like so tomorrow I start teaching again. My class, I said classes start. I try not to do Wednesdays, right, or Friday, so it's a Tuesday, Thursday class. But I have two independent students, so one independent student on me on Mondays, and the other one has an answer. So they plan it to meet in person. So I've been trying, I've been sending an email, like, please, I had a third class, but they didn't have enough students for that one. Because mostly that class is taught in the fall. It's like the beginners. Any of you ladies want to ever take the class for free, you can audit the class. And you can take the photography class. It goes over all the workings of the camera, the lenses, and which one's used for what, composition, photography elements, compositional elements. You can do that if you're ever interested. Usually they'll teach it one day. It's a long class, usually like a 4-hour class or 2 1 day. It comes 1 day or 2 days. It's like 2 hours. Yeah, but I go through it. In the fall, 16 weeks. In the summer, it's 10 weeks. So yeah. Yeah, but if you don't want to get the credit, you just audit it. Yeah. You want to learn more about your cameras and stuff. And I actually give you assignments that you can do. You have to work at it, and you got a project at the end, and a research paper. So yeah, and I give you feedback every assignment. No, because I have to turn it in, so they don't tell you no. Even though I do love my chest GPT when I'm not no, it has to be a DSL with the interchangeable lenses. I don't teach, I know I'm using my thing, but I want you're going to be printing your images, so you need a camera that's capable of producing prints. Yeah. Oh, I was talking about, I teach at Daytona State College, so during the fall, they usually have a PGY 1800 class, which is the beginning class for the photography program, and you can audit it. You can go and audit it for free, and then you go through the whole thing just like a college student, but without the credit, and then learn. Like I had this lady, and she's really big, she gets a class like that, older students, like retired veterans, CCs and stuff. They just keep their classes. Yeah, look at mine. Sure, yeah.
Which you got a good supply.
Yeah, you can use Nikon, Canon, Sony, whatever has the interchangeable lenses because you work with that. But anyways, let's start our meeting. It might be a shorter meeting since I know summer's like around the corner and everyone's planning their vacations, ready to get out of the house, stuff like that. But I thought we would have, and plus we're live streaming, so if anybody who businesses or if you want to review what we talked about today, you can go and with the link, it'll always be on our YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel, FLWAA does, but also the link will be available on our website under workshop classes, and also the previous guest speakers links are there already as well. So if you wanted to watch those again, like Gail Bolton, and that was our first tribal live streaming, so it's a little bit wonky. As we go along, we're getting better. And then we had Arnold, Damaris. I shouldn't be able to pronounce that, but okay. His link is there, and then every time we have our meetings, we'll have just the guest speaker part. I'm not putting up the meeting part because it'll be too long, too tedious, and the world doesn't need to know all, but because they can read our minutes at the end of the day. You have access to minutes under our members only page, so all that stuff, So starting off, I call it workshop. It's kind of like a town hall discussion, feedback, also learning about a couple things that we need to do, or learn about FLWAA, who we are, what our mission are. I think we've gotten so big so fast. This is why we're having this meeting, because we've gotten so big so fast. And some could dispute the numbers that we started off with, maybe 36, 37, maybe even been more 40, but you know, Elsie, she was an engine, and she got us up to like 150 or 160 members, like in the 2 years that she was here. And then as we renewed, we're right now at 126, and this is the first year. So that's a lot, you know, a lot of growth in a short amount of time. And so there's a bit of growing pains that we realize. And me coming on board too, I'm just like listening to everybody's, you know, expectations and ideas, or what they used to do in the past, what we need to do now. And I know that's a struggle a bit because, like the luncheon, for instance, I know that we all used to meet at the River Grill or somewhere else, and when we were a smaller group. And so a lot of questions like, why aren't we doing that anymore? You know, why can't we do that anymore? Well, if we have a big group and everybody shows up, the restaurants are not going to be able to accommodate us. Plus, Orman gives us a really good price to be able to use this room for 2 hours. You know, it really is like $100. 2 hours, we get technology, we get, you know, I can use the microphone when our guests are here, they can accommodate with the easels and all that stuff. So it's just was a better venue for that type of meetings that we've been having as guest speakers come and stuff like that. So that was one of the things I know that was a little bit disappointing. That's why we're going to make that up in a way before we head off for our summer vacations. I'm not just going to say it now. We're going to do our June luncheon. Yay. It's a social event. There's no working involved, no meeting involved. Because I like to have fun. I love to have fun. So I said, we gotta like, you know, shake things up, get ready for the summer, get our body baths by eating, you know, good lunch box. Yeah, you know, curves are in. And so, yeah, so we're gonna do that and maybe do some other fun activities while we're there. I just want you guys to get to know each other because again, we've grown so big, some of us don't even know who the other members are. So hopefully we'll have a good amount of, you know, other members that haven't been able to come to the meetings, they'll be able to go to the luncheon and we can meet up with them. Because we now have members down all the way down in Melbourne. We've got, you know, of course, a good group in Smyrna. We've got the land. We've got, you know, I think there's somebody in Gatesboro. We have one member who actually lives in Tennessee, but she comes back down here like every 6 months. So we've got, and because we are the Florida Women's Art Association, we have been trying to reach out, but we've been trying to reach out in a way through the live streaming when people can't come to the meetings. And of course, we're getting younger members as well. So some of our members are not retired and can come to the meetings. So we have to make it accommodating enough for those younger members to also participate in some way or another, right? So that's kind of what we're going to discuss really quick. So the luncheon is going to be our next meeting. It's scheduled June 21st. Then the third Wednesday. Yeah, 11 to 3. And we're going to send out a form so you can order the lunchbox or you can bring your own. We will have later on, we're also going to have bring your own dessert.
Not a bring your own, it's a potluck.
It's like a potluck, yes. So she wants us to, if you're going to bring a dessert, to write your name, dessert agreement, and your phone number, so in case we don't get like pudding, banana puddings, you know, stuff like that. I don't know what desserts you guys are into, but you know. Yeah, you can pass that around. If you have a pen, you can be passing that around and stuff like that. Some of the things we're going to be discussing, of course, our mission, expectation. Sandy was going to give this song. Sandy is actually the one. She's really, but she runs the shows. You know, she runs the exhibits, the art, the public places. She's super organized. Love her for that. So, I'm here having to get this little tidbit. But you do have, if anyone's interested in becoming a juror, we'll talk about it. I do have the June facilities here, and the exhibits coming up we're getting in chairs. Okay, so I'll give you that in a minute. But now I have to shut it off. It's French pianist. And, weird. I discovered his music on one of those HBO Max shows, and the whole album. So wow. But don't ask me how to pronounce his name. So. So, just let you know, I made this little PowerPoint and you get it too with canva.com. I don't get any proceeds from it, but it is free and you could always make really quick, beautiful online presentations. So, also we'll be going over gallery protocols. I don't know if everybody read the newsletter. I did kind of make a mention of that in the newsletter about those protocols and policies about gallery, and that kind of goes with the chair's responsibilities and how we're supposed to conduct ourselves with the chairs. And then we're going to go over how to wire a frame, and I have demos and samplings, and so you guys can, if you don't know how, we're going to do that. How to optimize Facebook for marketing and what the different roles that Facebook has. Because there's like 3 roles, and I think that gets confusing for most people. And then, of course, our website, how to navigate it, so you can find certain things like our membership app, where you find artists, call for artists. I'm assuming you all know this, so if you already know these things, I need you to speak up so I don't like repeat myself on something that's not important. And maybe you have something else that you want me to discuss, and that if I have the answer, I can provide that, okay? So I don't want this to be one way. I really want this to be interactive. We'll try to do this within an hour and then do our little meeting, our general meeting that goes over the other agenda stuff that we have. So, where's the mouse? Okay. So quick quote, art is about what you see. Well, it's not about what you see, but what you make others see. And this is very important too. When we create our art, we're creating art for other people. And this is what one of the purposes for FLWAA is to let other people see what we're creating for them, right? Through our exhibits, through our galleries, and things like that. So it's important that we understand our mission. So one of our missions definitely, and if you've read it, is about, and this is not straight from the mission statement, but I know this is what we are about. We're about empowering other women artists. And this is important because in the art world, it is historically known that women artists have not been empowered. They have more nude women in a museum that have painted, the models and stuff. But as women painters, you can count them on your hand. I think that when we sent up the last newsletter in April, we found out there was really only 7 that they consider as the most influential artists. There should be more out of all the thousands of women who are artists, but they only mentioned 7, and I was like, oh my goodness, why only 7? There should be at least 20, 30. But if you look up artists, the first thing you see is all men, and we love our men, yes, we need them, but but us as women artists, we're bringing in a different perspective, right? So this is why FLWAA was created, for us to get together, to encourage one another, to empower one another. And I think that, and then of course to participate in our exhibitions, because the more we do exhibitions and the more of us that participate in those exhibitions, it looks good for everybody in general. It's not just you. And then of course in artistic collaborations. I don't think we've done enough artistic collaborations other than what Elsie had put together with the kites, the installations. That was an artistic collaboration, and with the umbrellas. So if we want to continue doing that, we have to think about other ways we can do installations, because I don't think next year we're going to be doing an installation or any type of collaboration. So maybe if anybody has any ideas or knows where we can do an installation or do a type of collaboration, maybe we can do a collaboration where they need a mural painted. Or collaborations can mean we can provide a service to a school together. So stuff like that. So if you have those ideas, I need you, I don't know, do any of you have an idea? No, not right now. Because moaz is changing their mission statement with the new director. They're changing the way they're doing their stuff. So we have to then find other venues. And that might mean that it's not here in Daytona or in Ormond. It might have to be up in St. Augustine or all the way into Land or things like that in order to provide that collaboration. Or we could do, and that's something I hadn't even thought of asking Sandy. I know the FLWAA Art League did one time where there was like a collaboration and then there was an exhibit of that collaboration. I don't know if, like if we say we're going to collaborate on a certain theme and 3 artists have to come together and create an art piece. And I don't know how many of you would be up to that.
They did that with the umbrellas.
They did it with the umbrellas, right? And with the kite.
Oh, with the kite.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about the? Okay.
I can hear you.
We're also fine.
If you're moving the venue away, can't you repeat the color of rain? I mean, all exhibits travel around.
That's a good idea, and I think we can if people still have their umbrellas,
Well,
or we could redo new
Yeah.
ones.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to find a way to do that, a touring thing. It's I think a matter of logistics, but I think that's a good idea because then we can go to City Arts down in Orlando possibly to do it if they have the means to do it. We have to find a venue too that has the ceiling because I think they hung some down, and so just finding. But Sandy can't do that by herself. I know some of you put down that you wanted to help with finding exhibition areas. So this is for your time to step up and help and do that. I mean, I can talk to Daytona State. I know they have the news journal. I don't know how that. I would have to look at the layout.
I was thinking of like that just now in a medical center when you come in and the lobby is rather depressing. Yeah, a business of that, any kind of a business with a big lobby area.
That's true. We would have to. Can anybody know any of the interior decorators for the hospitals or the curators? Usually they have a curator, or even the airport. I don't know if they have. The airports are really great. I know when I lived in Punta Gorda, they would use the airport. Unfortunately, we don't really have a convention center right now around here. They used to use the convention centers or the chambers of commerce. Would be a place where people we could do. Also, arts and public places would mean even City Hall.
Oh, that's great.
Right? Because people come in all the time to City Hall, and then they would have even space to put up a small exhibition, right? Those are some of the things that we can try and do. I think does Volusia has the Volusia Cultural, Volusia County Cultural Association, which actually is the umbrella association for all the nonprofits. That takes us back to that. We don't officially are a nonprofit because we don't have IRS status as a nonprofit. So we really need to do that so that we can get more opportunities, especially now that, if you saw the email, they're about to cut funding to the arts. And so, and there's already, and I was talking to Stephanie, she said there's about 35 organizations under the umbrella of Volusia County Cultural Association, and that runs from the Land to the Berry, all of Volusia, that they're cutting that money for.
The Ormond Beach Performing Arts Center is going to be open for the 2024, and it's going to have a gallery and everything. Right now it's remodeling.
Yeah, and we're ready, set, and scheduled via Sandy. We're already set and scheduled to be like one of the first people to show in there as soon as they get that open. Right now, they just had a stall, I think, according to her. Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of possibilities. What about the Southeast Museum of Photography? If we're inspired by photographs, Brown and Brown, is that the one with the cougar outside? Maybe them. And over the bridge, that building, do they ever utilize that?
Over the bridge, the Daytona?
No, the Ormond Bridge, right over there. As soon as you go over the bridge, cross over. No. You cross over and there's a little building. They have had exhibitions from there.
It's the museum.
Is it the
That's
museum?
from
Yeah.
the museum.
But maybe we could partner either over there or
It
over
could
here.
pop up or something.
Right, because that doesn't get used that much. Yeah, and like the outside too, maybe we can redo that.
No, next to the
Mural.
bank. Over
There's
that
all
side.
sorts of options. We also can do, where they've done collaborations where they painted turtles or they painted something and then it goes to fundraising. I don't know whether I've seen cows done, I've seen dolphins done, I've seen turtles done,
Flowers,
horses,
shells or something.
jaguars. So
Yeah.
that's something maybe we can get involved with, whoever's doing a fundraiser, and then getting the artists involved with that, because that's a good name thing. Because I know when they did it up in Palm Coast for the Palm Coast Art Foundation, which they did the turtles, and I see those turtles and I love those turtles. Also the electric boxes. Where was I? Oh, Daytona Beach.
Naples did the jails too. I think there's
Right, for the conservation, but we can collaborate with the community in order to do that. So that way you can also expose your art, right? Because this is the other purpose, right? Networking, community building, creating supportive community, so even within ourselves, supportive community, but community on the outside, because that just brings good vibe. Even if we're not officially nonprofit, we still get that. It just makes everyone look good, right? As artists individually, but as a collective. Yes.
So I was wondering, is there something like that has been sent out to some of these organizations already, something in writing? Because I know the curator of the Durant Museum, but I'd like just something kind of explaining the mission and all of that, and what are we looking for? Is there something that's already been sent out that maybe could be shared with us as members so we can have something?
Well, I know Sandy have been working on a proposal, because we've been looking for places like even at the Lake County Museum, at the Leesburg Art Center, because we do have some artists all the way out in Lake County and Ocala and stuff, but they want proposals. So that's what we were trying to put together, a proposal that would be something. And going back to the umbrellas and the kites, that could be that proposal. I was hoping we could do more like a collective, like how the Watercolor Society does, but it'd be like a traveling, almost like a traveling exhibit, but that takes logistics, that takes who's gonna bring it. We're all volunteers with different schedules. I think they're more of a nonprofit, and they actually have an executive director that might be getting paid. So we have to find the fine line between where we can do these things that we want to do, but also have everybody on board that would want to do and be able to do it. So that's always the thing.
So back to Lois, is there a chance of possibly just having
Sorry.
a page or two on our website where members could go to just print out if they were going to approach? Is there a chance of having something like that available?
Yeah, we could have something like that available. We could have it would be called like a PR press kit, right? It's almost like a PR press kit, so that you would have that information, you'd be able to get it out. I would have to just follow up with Sandy, make sure all the verbiage is done right, so that you don't go there looking, that you look, because you'll be representing us, so professional as much as possible. But yeah, like a little press kit if you need to take it out and share it with other people, and you can print it out. So that's very possible to do, upload into the website as a PDF, and so it's easy. And just it'd probably be bare bones, just enough to give them the taste of what we can do, but then have them follow up with Sandy, as long as she's our art and public places person, which coming up soon, hopefully. So please keep that in mind if you want to be that next year or the following. That could be a role for you. So, but that's something that we would solidify and then put it up there, and then you guys can just print it out, go to the website and print it out. So thanks for those inputs, because that's what we need. The board could only come up with so much, but I can't. And I can come up with so much, and I can only do so much. But other than that, so it really takes a village. And as members of this organization, you all have a say, and all can input your ideas as well and make it happen. So yeah, so basically fostering professional relationships. And this can involve organizing events, meetings, social gatherings. So if you remember what you said you would be willing to do or volunteer for, just reach out and remind again. And then we'll try and see if we can get you a spot so we can get you going. I know it becomes a lot of work, and some of you might not have the time to do it, but every little bit counts. Every little bit helps, so that we can accomplish everything we want to do. Any further ideas or questions? No? Okay. So, all right, chairs of a committee. So as I've mentioned before, Sandy is the Arts and Public Places director, and she manages the chairs that do the exhibit. So we had one last month, which Kathleen Ertz did the frame of mind. And then coming up in June, we have the casements where Nancy Haygood is in charge of that. But then she has some volunteers that she's recruited to help her manage that as well. And so I'm just going to go briefly over them. But it says the chairs are the sole contact person and have the final say on all decisions pertaining to their event. Even that means because if there's space or if there's not space, because some of the venues are small, like Gallery 500, right? And let's say it only fits 50 and we get over 60 entries. Then it's up to the chair to then start to decide what's going to fit into the exhibition, right? Or it's up to the chair to decide whether that piece is actually going to work with the exhibition as well. Because as a whole, it has to work, right? So there's been cases where stuff might have been rejected due to whether the framing wasn't quite right or the painting didn't quite fit or whatever the case may be, right? But it's the chair's decision. They have been given the power to manage this whole exhibition themselves with everybody under them. So the reason for why this says the final say as decisions pertaining to the events, because I've had some people come and talk to me and then I have to turn around and tell them to go back to the chair. So with anything, like any question, I'll get questions to me and I'll have to say, just go back to the chair. I don't know nothing. I really don't. I just say, go, blessings on you, do what you need to do, and I'm there to support you. If you need extra hands or if you need extra graphics or marketing, I'm there, I'll help you. But other than that, the chair is the boss.
But in those small places, why they don't limit the size of?
They have limited, like we had limited at Art Spotlight, we did the limitations. We limited the size at Frame of Mind Gallery. There was a limitation. There was a limitation, I think, even at Gallery 500, there was a limitation. The problem is that some of our artists paint big. And some of our artists have artwork that they want to use, maybe for that exhibition. I mean, it's granted, if you have a piece already framed and you already have it, it fits. Why go ahead and make a new piece just for this exhibition? I understand that. Plus, we've got a lot of exhibitions back to back, so that also costs a lot of ruckus. But at the end of the day, they try to do that, but still, we could get over more, pieces than what can fit nicely. We want to be able to exhibit everybody in a good way, professionally. And I think so far, I have not seen one exhibition that we just sloppily just threw everything up. Everything has been done very well done. It's been always well received. Everything, in that case. Now, at the casements, you have bigger sizes you're able to do because at the casements, they have the ability to have bigger art pieces. If they join an art league, they have the capability to have bigger art pieces if we go over there to exhibit. So it all depends on actually the gallery space, but also, and then we don't want to overcrowd it because then it becomes a vanity wall. And you know what I mean by that, vanity wall? We just have pieces going almost like a salon. And not that those are bad because I know in the European countries, that's how they all started, those salons where they just have art from top to bottom. But I don't think most of our members want that. I think they wanted more of the setting where we're used to when we go into a gallery and it's like a white cube and and everything's, laid out in a way that, literally a way that works for everybody. So, that's most of what that is.
One other point to bring out to everybody is paintings we get in with the job forms and then pay for these shows.
Yes.
We really have to be responsible for that, and think about it, and General might always go through to the very last day, but, letting people know that, yes, you are going to have a painting in there. We've come very close recently with not making any money on the show and being in the hole. So you have to think about that too. That's another reason why, oh, well, if we only have 15 people, can't they make bigger paintings? Yeah, but 15 people, submission's not gonna make
Cover the cost.
cover the cost.
Yeah, and the gallery costs to exhibit. So one of the biggest roles, and I should go back to that, one of the biggest roles of FLWAA is to provide an exhibition space for our members. The only way we can do that is by going to these galleries that already have a space that we can rent out and contract. Because we, as FLWAA, do not have our own building or space. And every gallery has their own stipulations, their own contracts. Like Gallery 500 wanted us to sign off like 4 pages in order to exhibit there. Here they have a bigger process. Even though they might contract with us, they want to contract with each of the artists. They might not even want some of that. They may say that artist, they have the right, and that's how they set it up, to reject an artist that even though we might have accepted. That's how this works in this gallery. So every gallery has their own rules. That's why we have a chair that is in charge and who's the direct link to the gallery to get all those rules for the rest of the members and to disseminate that information. If we have members calling up the galleries one by one and making their own, arrangements, then that looks bad on us. That makes us look unorganized. And then the galleries might not want us back because they're saying these people, they can't control, they don't know what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. You know the gist. So that's why it's important that the chair be in charge. And then they know what the gallery wants and how that's going to work. It even comes down to even who's going to put up the painting. Some galleries want to do it themselves. And they don't want us to be involved because they want to do it because they have a vision for it. And then some galleries will let us do it ourselves. So, but under those contracts, most of the time, everything is hold harmless. And everyone does their best because everybody understands how much work goes into art pieces. Even into photography, how much work it goes into framing, how much work goes into the glass, how much work goes into all that stuff. And so nobody has ill intentions, not the gallery, not any FLWAA chair has ill intentions of anything being damaged, but things happen. So that's why we have hold harmless in our contracts and the perspectives, and then also the contract that we have with the gallery as a whole harmless clause as well. So under page 1. Elaine?
Going back to the chairs.
Yeah.
We have shows coming up.
Yes.
You have chairs that have volunteered for all of those shows yet? Or who picks the chair? Or is the chair just volunteer?
So that's a good question. So Sandy has here an exhibition schedule, and I only have 5 if anybody's interested. And it's also the schedule that's off of the master schedule that was sent out in the email. It says master schedule of what's coming up. So we have coming up February, Frame of Mind. So we got Frame of Mind back, yay, for February. And also,
chair for that one?
huh?
You have a chair for that one?
No, that's what you say. Chairs are needed for all these events.
Okay.
So that means the chair then, we're just telling you where we're going to have it, but then it's up to the chair to assign the exhibit title. They're going to come up with the theme, the title, all that stuff.
So if you have 5 people that want to be the chair, who picks the chair? Or do they
Well,
just
that would be up to Sandy.
That's
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. Sandy would be the one to ask you. So I'll put that as a note. Sandy, who they're like a pick out of the box or 1, 2, 3, I don't know. I'm not sure how she does that. Like, well, I think that'll work for you, or maybe that'll work for you. Depends. I don't know. how she comes up with that idea. I'm not sure, but we've had that problem before. So I don't think that's been something that's come up. And then,
Right.
yeah, exactly. And then in April, we have Gallery Elan again, members showcase, and that's going to be the bigger show. It's going to be a members showcase there at Gallery Elan. And so we've given you space this time to really get, and we're going to really be promoting Gallery Elan even starting in the fall, because we really want you to have your best to show at the showcase and give you time. So you've got like December, January, and then February's frame of mind. You can stick something in there. Then you got another month, and then you got April for Gallery Elan. So you're gonna have a good amount of time in between to work on your art, new art. You know, hopefully we're not dragging it out of the garage. You know, some new art to put up, you know, at this member showcase. And then in May we do go back to back there. We have the casements again, and then we got May, July, possibly the Gateway Center for the Arts. That's in Orlando. And we know that not everybody here, because we have a lot of Ormond Beach FLWAA members, maybe not all of them, but for those who are like Lake County, New Smyrna, in those areas, this might be the one that they will be able to participate more at, right? So hopefully that. Oh yeah, the Berry, that's right. So that, yeah, that'll hit that area for them. So like I said, we're trying to hit a little bit other areas so that our other members don't feel left out, that we're only doing it here in Daytona and in Ormond.
Well, and it's good for us too.
Yeah.
Spread our
Is there anything?
our environment.
I'm sorry.
Is there anything in New Smyrna?
Yeah, well,
Because it's
New
closer.
Smyrna, the options are like the Hub. I don't think the Center for the Center of Arts. That's a residential. Yeah, that's artist residence. It's very,
Jane's.
well, the Jane Center, they're not doing no
yeah.
longer exhibits there at the Jane Center for Art. They're just doing their own, like, you know,
It's-
ceramics.
It's gonna be mostly ceramics and sculpture.
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah.
Because they have a great ceramic studio, and now that's all been willed over to the Hub. So Jane's now belongs to the Hub, but it's gonna
The
stay
Hub,
Jane's. They have a sculpture garden, you know.
Or is
Yeah.
there anything in
there.
Stetson?
And Stetson's another idea too,
Maybe.
and the Deland Museum.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have that PR press kit, then we can reach out to them. Like we've made connections with the Lake County Museum. I know the director there. I reached out to the director at the Leesburg Arts Center, Richard Coben. So, and plus we have Kelly Batson. Kelly, who's over there, like, I mean, she's like
Yeah.
doing stuff and winning prizes. So she's we're hoping she'd be like our little liaison over there to set that up. So if we do get something like that, we would want someone that's in that area to kind of like be the go-between.
Are you purposely having fewer exhibitions?
Yes, we are.
One.
We're having fewer exhibition because the reason is to give time to be. That was one of the complaints that I heard, that there wasn't enough time to go back to back on some of these art exhibits. Like these people were just feeling a little bit like overwhelmed because there's other, not only ours, there was like other exhibitions going on at the same time. You've got Daytona Art League doing their exhibition. You've got Beau's Art, because I know those who are in Beau's Art are constantly like, they crack the whip on them. They gotta get their art out there. Nothing against that, but you know, that's not who we are.
There's a critical season, and that's Christmas.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound like you have anything.
Well, we have
during
October Gallery
December.
500.
It's a little early for
And
Christmas.
this year we only have October too. We don't have anything for the Christmas season. The problem is, it's a lot of our members travel. There's a lot of traveling going on, and so there's not enough. There's not going to be enough entries to cover costs of a gallery.
I don't agree with you. I think that small works sell down here.
Yeah, the small works
especially
do.
for November, December.
We had something at Gallery Elan during the holidays last year, so maybe that's a way to get in.
If we
That
could
they
get
had
back
opened.
into Gallery
Yeah.
Elan, just remember every time we go to a gallery, it's costing us what, $600 to $700. Art Spotlight, we're not going back because they raised it. Sorry, Thais, Terry, because it was like 1,000 something.
But Gallery Land is racing now.
And Gallery Alana's
Raising.
racing. So if we're gonna do these events, the more we do it, that means we have to decide. We either have to get more entries in and on time, so we know that we're gonna cover the cost, or we gotta raise the entry fee. Or there's another option. I know I haven't brought it up to you guys, or maybe I have, but I know there was I think there was an agreement that they only wanted FLWAA members, but if we opened it up to non-FLWAA members and then raise the price on non-FLWAA members, maybe they'll become FLWAA members to be able to participate. But then there was an argument about that they didn't want that because it would be fair to FLWAA members. So that's something members have to discuss. I mean, it's not Lisette's organization, it's FLWAA, right? So FLWAA as members need to decide how they want to run this so that the board can then implement it or, come into agreement and implement that. But I can't come and say, we're going to do this because if you guys don't want it, then there's nothing I can do.
Well, a lot of different places, like the Art League, they have shows, members pay less than non-members. I really don't see where that's a problem, but that's just my opinion.
Well, it's their own building. We are subcontracting out to another gallery to bring in our members, and then they're like, well, who are you opening it up to? We don't know who they are. We know your members. We know they're quality artists, but you're opening it up to other people. So that just adds another layer of complexity
So there
to the
is
gallery owners.
pros and cons for that. Unless we judge, we say first come, serve. So we have all the FLWAA members, and if we don't make it, then we open it up to non-members and judge it from there. I mean, there could be different ways to do it, but how complicated? And will the chairs be willing to do that? Because again, the chairs are the one that decides how that works. They select their volunteers, if the show is to be judged. And we've been trying to get away from judging because we wanted a one big collective prize for one show. Because of course, all the money budgeted is how that would work. So that was another thing that we were discussing, that we would not have prize. We have people's choice, because we felt that would give artists the feeling of, oh yeah, okay, people really like my work, they'll buy your work, they'll vote on your work. But then we have one big show that actually had a bigger prize money, so that you would be more apt to put in your best. I want your best work in every exhibit, but the big show would be more big and more incentivized. I guess that's what I was trying to do. But if you guys don't agree with that, please feel free to let me know, because. But you do have a choice to, like this, the case was judged and priced. Okay, like Frame of Mind wasn't priced, but they used the money from the prize money to get a musician. So that kind of defeated what I wanted to do. But it is what it is, because the chairs decide. Okay, and then of course prepare the check request. Which, Karen, you want to talk about the check request real quick?
So if you're chairing an event with prize money, you will submit 3 check requests. One is for the prize money, and you can submit 1 check request for the 4 checks, best of show, first, second, third. You will also submit 1 for the judge, and then you will submit 1 with your expenses. Or you could have multiples if you have different expenses. So that's what the check requests are about. They are emailed to me with copies of your receipts for your expenses. And you do not have to send me any backup documentation. It's all done by email.
All right. So then that'll come in a kit that Sandy puts together and gives to the chairs. Who's been a chair already of an exhibit here? Nobody here? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Ricky's helping Nancy. So what did Sandy provide to you?
Then I don't know. I got the checks today.
Okay.
You know what we're doing, but I don't know what Sandy is told us.
Okay. Yeah, and then they're in charge of getting the marketing graphics together, either using one of our people that do the marketing graphics, and then getting all that out and the printing and marketing, and being reimbursed for all of that marketing, because it's FLWAA, right? So that's some of where the money's going. All right, and then of course she mentions here, they come up with a budget, and all the shows are predetermined. What the amounts are for if you do the judging the prize. What's it for first prize? Oh yeah, okay. So we're gonna move on really quick. Okay, so if you're interested, here is the exhibition responsibilities. It's more in detail and also the schedule of which one you want to. I put it behind here. So whichever one you want to do, contact Sandy and let her know. So since none of you have cheered, I would suggest volunteer and do that. Everybody's here to help, and Sandy's awesome. She really guides you. It's not like she leaves you hanging. She's amazing. So moving on. Sorry. So probably. So there was some of the gallery policies and protocols that we already discussed. So do communicate with the chair directly with any questions or concerns. This means you as the exhibitor turning in your art piece. If you have any questions or concerns about your art piece being in the gallery, you are to go to the chair, not the gallery manager, not anybody from the gallery, but just the chair. Not even me, because I'll send you to the chair. So, but you can ask who the chair is, even though it is listed on our website who the chair is, and goes out in an email with their emails. But again, I don't mind telling you again who the chair is and who the contact. So then also, contact the gallery directly. So do make sure to read the prospectus and understand the requirements of the prospectus, because it's important that you do that for each of the shows. They do change a bit. So you need to read that and understand it, and that when you check off that box, what you're understanding, so that when the time comes, if something comes up, you're not surprised, right? In case they like reject your art because it wasn't ready, it wasn't done right, or something else, right? So just assume just because you paid for an entry that your art is accepted. That's another assumption I kind of just want you to be aware of. Even though it's you paid for it, don't assume that it's going to be accepted if it's not, because what they see in the little thumbtack, if you come in with a piece that's not the same thumbtack, or isn't it up to quality or up to par, or whatever the case may be, that the chair has a question you want, that it might not be accepted. So there shouldn't be any arguments there, other than just trying to resolve whatever the issue is, right? Yes?
When you submit artwork through the art form and it's juried, shouldn't you be notified even if you're not accepted? Because all you get is an acceptance email, and sometimes the emails are real sketchy whether we get them or not.
That's see it. Yeah, that she won't know until she sees it. Most times you're accepted.
No, this is prior to.
Oh.
She's
This
saying
is
when-
prior to the
Drop
when
off.
you bring it down to the drop off. Right.
The job form, just the picture.
That's no, Carrie. What she's talking about is that if it does get rejected for some reason via the thumbnail, and then she doesn't get if you don't get a letter that says you've been accepted, which I'll have to talk to Sandy.
I mean,
about.
it should be either way, accepted or rejected.
Right, but then there's times where even if you're accepted, juried in, and you come to the table with your actual art piece, and then they see
I
something.
understand that it's significantly different than what you submitted.
Right, but I understand what you're saying as well, because you want to know whether something's been rejected overall, so you don't waste your time going in and bringing it and then finding out you were rejected. For the most part right now, I don't think we've had too many jury shows where anybody's work has been rejected per se. But if it does come up, I think the chair will directly contact you and mention to you that your piece is not going to be accepted into the show, because we've had that where one art piece wasn't accepted and the chair contacted that person directly, not as a chain letter or whatever. Right, it's direct. Because what she wants you to do too, she might say, it may not fit, but she might give you suggestions for it to fit so it can be accepted. So there's like a personal conversation going on between you and the chair. So it's not, like a cookie cutter kind of rejection letter.
I tell you one thing. I went to one of the shows and I brought somebody else artwork. And when I presented for that person, they say, that one is rejected. And that person never knew that piece was
That's
rejected.
good to know. That's okay. So yeah, I will have to address that and make sure that we make a note of that, so that if it is rejected, I do agree, a letter has to go out
Just
some
an
type of
email.
communication that says, sorry, but this has been rejected, and not let the person assume that when they come to the entry that that it has been rejected, because that's kind of embarrassing. I don't want people to feel like that, I don't like that feeling either.
Do you get a refund if it's rejected?
No, there's no refund.
No refund.
There's no refund unless you, no refund unless it was like a double dip, like if you put it in twice by accident. The only refund you get is if you accidentally pay twice. Like, then we'll refund you. But other than that, so that comes out, they don't reimburse our fee.
That just happened to me.
They don't reimburse our fee at all.
I put 3 pieces of calorie line and I ended up on the job club doing 60 pieces.
Oh, wow. You didn't pay for that.
Yes, and I had to contact Greg and I said, Greg, I made it.
I know. You got rich. Like, oh, that's $1,200 out of my paycheck. Like, honey,
There's something new on there. 60 pieces.
oh yeah, no. And I know sometimes we have problems with our drop forms too.
Yeah.
So if we ever have problems with our drop forms, Elsie is the person to contact on unless otherwise.
The one question I have is, like I put in an application for the casement show, but I haven't heard anything back. Well, I'm assuming they don't let everybody know until after the application deadline.
Right,
Yes.
right, yeah, because they don't have everybody's stuff yet.
Right.
So
And that's been extended to the 19th.
yeah, that's been
Yeah.
extended to the 19th because we weren't getting enough submissions, and they're gonna put together catalogs. So that's another reason why we need these things.
That's
Because
cool.
if they're putting together the catalog, that takes time. So remember, everybody's actions results in some type of effect, cause and effect there. So the more we delay, it's harder. So I'm trying to hurry up here. Remember that you're exhibiting under the umbrella of FLWAA. So professionalism is always required by everybody. That means no, getting upset or telling people in the gallery what to do, or if you're upset, take it to the side, talk to the chair, talk to me. But unfortunately, we've had an incident where someone did try to start a little ruckus, and I was not having it. So I expect, as adults, as women in profession, I mean, all you've been working. I know we forget ourselves sometimes, but and I don't want to really make excuses, but we're under FLWAA when we're exhibiting together. So we're all collaborating, we're supporting each other. So if one person makes a bad impression on a gallery, that'll affect us, because then the gallery won't want to have us back. And if I was the gallery owner, I wouldn't want to have you guys back either, because. And so it's not fair to everybody else if one person decides that they want to be a diva about stuff. I'm not gonna say it plain and simple. So anyway, we're artists. I know we're eccentric and everything, but we don't need to be divas too much. Only that we're fabulous, yes, we know. But still, not okay. So really quick, okay, choosing the wires, and in your paper you saw there's 3 different wires. There's this braided one, and then there's stainless steel. The braided one, this one goes up to 20 pounds. This one goes to 100. And then there's the vinyl one that goes up to 60. So depending how big your image, how heavy it is, you want to pick the right one, right? And then on the back of that paper, it has a little diagram, as well as how you would go about just actually wiring it. Where did I do with that? Wiring it. So these are D rings, just so you know. I mean, it looks like a D, so it's a D ring. And then what you would do is you take the length of this. So this is, I think, this one. Let's see what measurement it says according to the rules. So this is a 28. About 28. So much. This one's custom, of course. And 21. 21 by 28 is pretty much. It says to divide it into thirds. So if you take 28 and you divide that by 3, that's how many inches? 9? Yeah, so you would go then 9 inches from the top down. So yeah, that's pretty much where they did it, right? 9 inches from there. And that's where you would put your D-ring. And then you would do the other side. Then it says in the instructions, you go from the middle center, you find your center, and you go down 3 inches from there, and you put a dot. there, because that's gonna be your center. And the reason for that is when you start to put in the wiring, let's see if I have one over here. I don't like stainless steel because it always goes my fingers. It says to measure out the length of the frame, but then also take another 6 inches. That's what you do. And then, of course, you cut it if you have a wire cutter or whatever. I'm not going to cut this one. And then you're supposed to insert. You're going to do, and I do it this way. You go in 3 inches with your wire, and then you go back in again. You're kind of going to do like this one's harder. Yeah, you're doing a knot, but you go in twice. So it kind of loops in. And then you're going to tie it, and you're going to wrap the wire around. Basically what you're doing. Yeah, so here.
Yeah, come on up.
I mean, if you need to, but I also going to send out a video because I found a video and I put it on our Instagram, a video of how to wire, and it shows the same thing. But I'll put it up on our website so that you can do it. Then what it says is that remember when you went 3 inches down to the center where you're going to hold that, and that's where it's going to be taut but not too tight. That's where you're going to put your finger, and then you're going to take that from there and take it and then do the other side. And then you finish wrapping up the extra. That's what you do. So the reason for this is that if it's holding right there at the 3 inches, then it's going to sit well on the wall. That's one. But if you go up too high, this is what will happen if it's too loose. And then that wire will show, the nail will show, everything will show. So you want to be 3 inches down from the center, and then you go and do the rest of the wiring. So that's what the paper explains basically. And like I said, I'll put a video up on the website if you need to remember. But I think this was important because a lot of us don't really know. And then there's a really cheater's way to do it. Take it to Michael's. They're only $3 to wire. And you could take already free. These came free with the free D-rings. You could even, once you buy it right there at Michael's, you could say, please, can you wrap this for me? Can you do the wiring for me? And they charge you. I think they went up though. I think they went to $5 per thing. But still, if you don't have the time, if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you can take it to Michael's and they'll do it for you. I have them do my matting. When I buy pre-cut frames, but then I'll get maybe my mat is not the right size opening, so then I have them cut my mat and then I put it in there and then I have them do my wiring. And then I'm done for the day. So that's how you do that. So you do need a measuring tape, wire, depending on the heaviness of your picture. If it's glass, I would recommend, to be honest with you, museum glass. I know it's more expensive, but it deters the reflections. But if not, then if you use plexiglass, especially if it's a really big piece, that glass gets super heavy. And if it falls and breaks, so I would recommend anything over 30, over 20 pounds to have at least.
And a lot of places won't let you put glass in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's say you have a piece, like a wood piece, like you did your stuff on the wood. You have to create, the way to put the D-rings and the wire on the back. Either like let's say you have a metal. For me, like if I printed something on metal, usually they have like this tab in the back, but that's not acceptable to use for the exhibits. So I would have to somehow maybe glue it down with E6000, bead glue a piece of wood, and then create like a framing that way. So then I would put the D-rings and then I would put the wires. Is how you would do. So it's not that we won't accept any type of other materials, but you have to have the wiring for the exhibition in order to set it up. So you have to figure out how to do it so that your piece doesn't fall to the ground. So we're not responsible for it. Okay, any questions on that? No. Okay, great. I think that was good. And then the paper will also tell you. So now I'll put this up on the website too if you want to go over the website. I was going to talk to you about Facebook pages and groups. As you can tell, there's Facebook profile, there's a Facebook page, it's a Facebook group, and then, of course, the summary of what it is. And I've gone over this. Everyone has a profile on Facebook. That's just how it is. You have to have a profile. To have a page or to be in the group, you have to have a profile. So the profile is usually your personal stuff. You can have on your profile private. Only your friends can see your messages. Only your blah, blah, blah. Nobody else can really go into your profile other than your intimate contacts. You can even put it that you're the only one that sees your stuff and nobody else. You can do it overall globally, or you can do it per post. So if you wanted to put something naughty, you didn't want nobody else to see, then you could put, private, only to you and your friends, your besties, and then everything that's all angelic, you can leave out in the open, So you got a devil side and an evil side, nobody else. But still, I don't know how best to put that. But that's your personal, your post, your bio, everything. That's personal. That's not your business page or the page that you're gonna put events under or page. This is so that you can share with your friends all your stuff, right? Through the profile, you can create a public page, and that's what FLWAA has. We have a public page, so that I'm able to create the events, set up the events. You can share those events; they're not private. You can share them everywhere. It gets on the calendar. It can be searchable through the internet. Everything like that. I try to push that out. Now I have mine connected to Instagram. We have it because we have an Instagram account because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So whatever I push to Instagram gets pushed to the Facebook page, public page. Is how that works. So if you have an Instagram page and you don't have a Facebook page, I still can push your stuff out. Now Instagram works totally different, but this is how it would work. So if I don't know your Instagram, if I'm not friends with you, or even on Facebook, if I'm not friends with you, I can't push your stuff out because I can't see it. So if you're seeing the same people being pushed out, it's only because that's the people I see all the time. I see Elaine, I see Denise, I see Grace. Grace is, putting out there. Kelly, Carrie, I've seen some of yours, and I've seen yours, Carol. So I try to see and I try to push out as best as possible because that is going to bring people to you, right? And that's for promotional purposes. That's what we're using it for. Send out the events and all this stuff. So I expect everybody, a member, go onto that page, like the page, and then share from that page as well. Our group can be public or private. Our group is private. So you can't invite other people that are not members to the group. Because we moderate it. I moderate it. I look at it. I actually go and see if someone's just become a member, blah, blah, blah. Then I have to send them an email, say, I'm so sorry, you're not a member. But if you want to be a member, here, become a member. We probably have to clean it out because we have people that are on there that are no longer members. And so, but as long as they haven't done, I feel like if they haven't been misbehaving, we're good, right? If you haven't been doing too much, and there is a limit on posts, right? You can post your stuff, it has to get approved, and you can limit it up to 3 posts in the group, so it doesn't get bombarded by just one person putting up only their stuff. And I try to push out to that group so everybody knows what's going on as well. We push out the newsletter there too. We'll push out the website, whatever. We'll push this out as well, right? The link to the videos and the guest speakers. And then, of course, in summary, Facebook profile is for individual users. A Facebook page is for business organizations, public figures, and the Facebook group is for communities of people with shared interests and goals. So those are the 3 differences. So then if you're wanting to market your work, you should have a Facebook page. Because if you have a Facebook profile and you push out your work, but you make everything private to those who are not friends of yours, nobody can see your stuff. So if you really want to market your page, you need to do it that way. All right? What time is it? Oh, okay. So, and I was going to go over website navigation, but we're running low. We're running late on what we need to do, and I don't want to be here for too much longer. But so we're going to go over the minutes. But any questions or any ideas or anything? You all know that we have a members only page, right, on our website. You all have that password. You should have it. If you don't have the password, I can't tell it right now because we have live streaming going on. But if you give me your email, I'll shoot it to you. You should have gotten it in your welcome letter. But if you missed it or something, I'll send it to you. I'll give it to you. I could write it right now for you, but I won't say it because it has our member directory on there. It has all the bylaws. And then it has the latest newsletters and things like that, and even from 2022. So we try to keep that up to date for the members. It's like an archivals page, and also our have to update, the minutes from the board and the minutes from the general meeting, so that you have that in case you didn't get it through the email or anything. So stuff like that. All right, any other questions? Did you need me to talk about anything before I stop this? Was it informative enough for you guys? Did it give you what you need? And I appreciate all the feedback and everything, because that's what we need to hear, because, you know, again, we can't come up with everything, and it's important. So yeah.
Now, asking about the exhibition places, what happened to the new journal?
I think the News Journal, there was a situation that came up, and so I think, but I think we'll approach it again. I think we just have to approach it again, in a different, maybe a different month, where maybe that month wasn't the best month. So
So
we'll
the
have to
weather
approach-
was terrible, wasn't it?
Well, the weather we can't control.
Yeah. That's
We gotta control the weather, but if we can get it on a good month that maybe has less. Yeah, I haven't really, that's the one over here, right? The News Journal, or the one on the campus?
Main Street.
Across the street.
Oh, on Main Street, that News Journal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see why not. We could try it again and see where, you know, we can catch, maybe we could do it for the December that Ricky was, encouraging us to do for December, and then have like a Christmas thingy.
To do small works.
Right, exactly, so there. So, News Journal, Small Works, and Christmas, and yeah. So there, we can add that, and we can. But someone has to chair it. So someone, if you want Denise. Oh well, see, here's the thing. Good ideas, but no, we can't do it by ourselves. I mean, I guess I can step up and do that one. So we'll do it. We'll work on it together.
I have a question too. The library, that lobby is hardly ever utilized. You can almost do it not just in one shot.
I have brought up the library.
The library.
So what? And it's not happening?
So Carrie mentioned the library before, and that's something we can try. We just have to get friends of the library. I think they're the ones in charge of the space, and see, because I know I've seen that before in other libraries in other counties. So that's nothing new. It's just I don't know how that's working out right now.
City
Libraries
Island
are on the
too.
fire, so.
City Island too used to have a space in the middle. In City Island, they used to exhibit work in the middle. So that's another one to think about too.
All right.
Yeah.
It's-
I'll see what I can find out.
Please.
Oh, that would be great.
You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
I know Ormond has done